Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and welcome to our December Sort and Chat. If you're not familiar with these videos, this is basically a longer video, similar to a live stream, but not live, where we are just going to go through some stuff and chat a little bit, and I'll give you guys some updates and things. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. But this will be a mostly unedited video, so just a little bit of insight into the channel and things we can talk about. Now today what we're going to do, I normally do like bins of shame where I go through and sort out stuff I need to put away. And trust me, I have plenty of that, but I think I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I have several new Lego days here that I'm just behind on. And I try to make videos for all these. They usually turn out pretty good, but I've just got too much, so I need to get through some of this. So we're going to do a kind of long form here. I'm going to sort this stuff out, go through it a little bit, and put things away as we go, and talk about the channel a little bit. I got 3 different orders here. This, if you watched my video on the Sasquatch, this is from Bricks and Bob's. And I didn't put the rest of the order away. It's very much so needs to be sorted. It's all just in 2 bags. This here, oh boy, who is this from? I don't even remember. But this is mostly parts for the pencil and tree parts as well. So we'll go through that stuff too. And this just arrived today, and this is from Samuel's Bricks. And this is a quite large order, so let's get through that stuff first, and then we'll dive into here. Let's start with Bricks and Bob's here. Lots of mixed stuff. A lot of this is gray plate. I've been using up so much gray and dark gray plate, mostly dark gray actually, and I just need to restock. That's pretty funny, a flower sits in the headpiece there. This is some Christmas stuff that arrived a little late, but that's okay because I didn't really need it. So I'll have it for next year. You know, I do Christmas builds for the bike shop. I've got my Lego bike shop, and I dress the crew up in Christmas stuff every year. So elf costumes are a thing. We do a big elf ride type thing at the bike shop. So elf costumes are real big. So got a few more of those. And then I found these reindeer, which were pretty cool. So I got 2 of those with the heads, and I think the antlers are in here too somewhere. Yeah, here they are. Got the antlers as well. So this is just going to go into my Christmas supply stuff that I keep with the Lego bike shop, and it'll get used next year. I still have time. I could still put it on there. This video might be out after Christmas. I don't know when I'm going to actually post this one. I always get a couple days delay on these, but probably will just get used next year. Got some gray plate here. 2x4s, 2x6s. And I think I'm just going to pull a bin out and start putting this stuff away, because it'll just be easier to do this since we're doing this longer video here. We can just do it in real time. There's my dark gray plate bin. I was making really good progress on the Lego room. I'm building a new cabinet for over there to hold these bins for my just colored parts selection. And I got it almost done. The problem is we had a nasty cold snap here. And here in north central Illinois, it is silly cold. I mean, it got really, really cold here. Like, it was down to a couple degrees outside. And the shop where I do my woodworking, which is attached on the back of my garage, it doesn't stay very warm. It has warmed up a little bit. We're up to about 35 now, which after what I just went through with the weather, is feeling pretty warm, to be honest with you. So I'm going to get back out there and finish them up. I had to do some painting, and painting doesn't go very well when it's that cold anyway. I can't be patient with it, and it doesn't dry the greatest when you have it that cold. Not that I'm a very good painter, don't get me wrong. My painting is pretty terrible, but it gets the job done. So yeah, I will be getting on that again, getting that cabinet done. I did finish a new Lego table for Maggie. I'll post about that soon. I need to help her set up her town a little better. We've got most of it on there, but it needs some finishing touches, and then I'll show that table off. I'll probably include it in another video. It probably won't be a standalone video, but probably want to do the room update after we get some more stuff in. After I get that cabinet done, though, I still need to work on the rest of the room. I'm building a lot of shelves and things, and I've just got a whole laundry list. I do have some time off coming. I'm taking a couple weeks off this winter from the shop, so I'll be able to get a lot done there. I am planning a very short trip, a 3 or 4 day trip, to visit some family. The winter challenge is due, I think, the 22nd, and I'm going to have the videos up on Christmas for voting. And I'm not going to have the results for a few days. I didn't even think about that when I posted it, mostly because I hadn't planned that trip yet. But I will have to delay the results a few days. It won't be a big deal, though. It'll be like probably 3 or 4 days after the voting starts, and then I'll get the results up. I'll just be out of town, and quite frankly, I'm not going to be doing any YouTube work while I'm on the road. So, it'll just be a couple days delay. No big deal, though. It'll still get done. We'll have winners. It's going to be a great contest. I've already gotten some awesome entries. Can't wait to see what else we get. If you aren't familiar with that challenge, you can check it out. Might be a little late to start now, unless you can do like a micro build, but there still is some time. We got a week. Actually, less than a week. It's the 22nd. But, yeah, it should be fun. I can't wait to show that stuff off. The challenges are a lot of fun, and I'm really liking the format I'm doing here now that I'm doing 4 a year. As I always say, the intention was never to make them seasonal themed. The reason I do seasons is because 4 a year is about the right workload I'm looking for. When I first started the challenge, I did an October challenge, then November, and then I was like, okay, December, I'm burnt out. It's too much to do in every month. At least for me it is. I do this for fun on the side, so it's not my full-time thing by any stretch of the imagination, and it just gets to be too much. So 4 a year, perfect workload, works really well for me. And I think it gives everyone a break, too. I don't think there's many people out there that would want to do 12 specific builds for challenges a year. And I know I wouldn't want to make that many PowerPoint slides. Because to me, the fun part of all this stuff is building, buying, and sorting Lego. And I'm not so much into the, the video side. I like the video side, don't get me wrong. But I like being able to share ideas. I'm not crazy about all the editing and all the extra work that goes into it, because quite frankly, it just takes away from building time. And what fun is that? So, you might notice with my channel that my videos are kind of quick edits. I usually, if I produce like a 8-minute video, I usually spend 40 minutes editing, maybe. So it's kind of amateurish, but that's how I like it. I think it's got a more homemade feel. And again, in order to be able to put out videos as frequently as I do and not completely lose my mind, that's what works best for me, is to be able to do an interval a little bit longer, like every couple days, a little bit shorter, I mean, but have the videos a little simpler. If I can make them quick and pump them out, I can do more videos and more content and have more fun building more Lego, as opposed to spending a lot of screen time trying to make everything all clean and pretty to get extra views and stuff like that. Get some flowers here. These 4-leaf flowers, kind of the old style ones, I really like them for Christmas because they look more like poinsettias to me than the newer style do. So I like to have these on hand, and I used a bunch of them on my bike shop this year. I kind of covered the whole thing in poinsettias for Christmas, but so I bought some more. And I also found a ton of reddish brown ones, which is awesome, because those are one of my favorite pieces for trees. Great connector for using trees with flower stems. And I'm finding that more and more of my builds for trees are using flower stems. I think it's a great way to connect stuff. I don't have a brown specific spot in here. Should I make one or should I combine? You know what? I was combining it with gold. That's where they'll go. Sometimes if it's a little less common color, I do combine. I try not to, but sometimes you have to. Especially with something like flowers, because they make it in every color and they make all kinds of styles. And I want them all in the same bin. And you just run out of space. There we go. Got some leaves. Fun fact, this is the only bin in my entire Lego collection that has just one piece in it, one type of piece. It's all 3-leaf pieces. Nothing else goes in here. And I can probably safely say this is my favorite Lego piece. I use it a lot. I love building trees and plants. And just an awesome way to make accurate trees. I remember as a kid I would try to build trees. And the part selection back then in the 90s was just so limited, and early 2000s too, that you could make okay trees. You used a lot of like this kind of stuff with just branch pieces, but they didn't look great. And the ability to get parts was so much more difficult back then. This was, you know, before internet shopping was big, and you know, a lot of people didn't trust buying things online. You know, nowadays you can't live without it. But back then, you know, it was kind of like, if I buy this, is it actually going to show up? How do I pay them? You know, do I safe to give a credit card over the internet? You know, this is like the infant days of PayPal, and actually probably even before PayPal. So yeah, it wasn't real common to buy stuff online. I mean, most of my collection from my childhood was either taking apart sets, but a lot of it, my parents were very thrifty. They were good at like hitting garage sales and finding bulk bins, you know, which as a kid was like a gold mine. You know, even today, I'd much rather have a bunch of mixed stuff than a bunch of sets. You know, if you told me, Chris, here's $1,000 worth of Lego, do you want $1,000 off of a Brick Owl or Bricklink or Online Pick-a-Brick, or do you want $1,000 in sets? I would every single time take the loose pieces, just because that's what I like to do. I mean, nothing against sets. Sets are super cool. And every now and then I do pick up a set, but you know, some of this stuff is just so expensive and it is fun to build. The problem is, what do I do with it when I'm done? You know, and I have a full dedicated Lego room and I still don't want to have to store all this stuff or feel guilty about taking it apart. This piece has been a staple in my trees. This is the 1x1 round with a bar on it. I think I have 100 of them here. I got a lot. And I think I got even more from Samuel's Bricks because I keep running out of it. I have a new design for my oak trees. I did a video on it fairly recently, which is the Ultimate Oak Tree 2.0. And it uses that piece very heavily. It also uses this piece very heavily. So I got a whole bunch of those. And we got some 1x1 snot bricks here. I needed one of these, like 2 of them, for my winter challenge build. And then for some reason, because I didn't have them, every time I ordered, I threw some on there. I got like 4 doses of them, but that's a good piece to have. I'm not complaining. They will get used, and kind of funny I actually ran out of it. Oh, this is cool. These are pearl silver, dark pearl silver, something like that. 3-leaf pieces, and whoops, I have a couple of these, but they're quite rare and or expensive. I think I got like 4 of them in there, so I didn't get a lot because I'm sure they still weren't cheap. But it looks a little more full now, and that's what the goal is, right? What else we got here? Got 2 of these. These pieces are great. I use these in one of my tree sculpture series trees, and I've been using those pretty heavy on these kind of longer, pointier fill-in trees that I absolutely love. I use them all over the city now. You'll see them in the next update. I've built up quite a few more. But great tree. Doesn't take up a lot of space, and really helps like densen, that's not a word, make a forest more dense looking. And yeah, it's a great way to fill in without having, the biggest trouble I find with Lego trees and Lego forests is that trees in forests, they all touch each other. They get really close, they touch, they overlap, they intertwine. But Lego, that's hard to do. It's hard to do in a functional way. You can definitely do it, but once you start moving stuff, it just becomes a pain in the butt. You bump one tree, it messes up 3 trees, so it's really hard to do. So you need to find a way to pack them close together without a ton of overlapping. At least that's what I found. I guess if I was going to do like a ultra realistic mock, probably beyond my abilities, I might try to figure out how to interlace them more and just like, okay, don't touch it now. But I don't think that's practical for like normal Lego city building. I think you have to have a degree of movement to them where they have their own space and can be very close. And maybe a little bit of overlap, but not a lot. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong. One thing I notice a lot, I do watch a lot of Lego YouTube videos and what other Lego YouTubers are building. And one thing I always find with wooded sections in a lot of these cities is that they're often way too thin. Woods are dense. You're not going to have a tree here and a tree here and a tree here. No, you're going to have a canopy of trees, a lot of them, and then underneath it you're going to have even smaller trees, and they're all going to mingle and interact. And they need to be kind of all fitted in with each other. Where do I want to put these? Sometimes these end up in this bin, sometimes they go in the other one. But they all have to kind of interact with each other, but you want a nice dense look. If it's real thin, it doesn't look like a forest, it looks like a park. And where it's been manicured and they've pulled out trees and made space for trees. That's not how forests work. Forests are dense. And and obviously a lot of times it comes down to a parts issue. How much stuff do you want to buy and cram into a Lego mock? But if you're going for realistic, you got to go realistic, right? At least that's just something I see a lot. All right, lots of these 5 long plates. Great tree piece. These are what I love to use for tree limbs. The rounded edges make it a lot less harsh than a squared off plate, and it makes it just look a lot more natural in a tree. Hard edges like points and squared off things don't look great in trees because they just don't look natural and flowy. All this pink stuff and dark green stuff is for my pencil. I do have a specific bin for that. Let me run over here and grab it. As you can see, I've been collecting parts, and that's where all of this, you don't even want to know what this costs. This is, I think it's 210 of these dark green rounded over bricks. This is like embarrassing what I spent on this. I don't know if I even know, or if I even want to tell you if I did know. It's over $20 for that little bag. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, don't tell my wife I bought that. Hopefully she's not listening. Just kidding. She doesn't really care. But stuff like that. Yeah, it's gonna help finish up the pencil, so I kind of had to do it. But this is all stuff for the pencil. Should be getting quite close to finishing that pencil up. I know it's dragged on for a while. I just haven't had a ton of motivation to do it for whatever reason. And as I always say on this channel, I love starting stuff, and I'm really bad at finishing. I get very distracted, and I always have more and more ideas, and I want to jump in and out of projects, and a lot of projects get left behind. These are cool. Cheese slopes in neon yellow, or bright yellow. What do they call it? Neon highlighter yellow? Who knows? I've never owned the cheese slope in this. So now I can take my tiles off the front. This is a color someday might get its own bin. Right now it shares with this light yellow. Don't really ever have a use for this color, but it is super cool they're making it. Got some of this really old school yellow in there too. That's pretty cool stuff. I also keep a little swatch in here. Let's see if I can get it out without messing up my tripod. Yes. I don't know why I do this, but for some reason I like to have one of every cheese slope on this plate. And so I got another color I can add here. Don't know where. We'll just put it up here for now. There you go. Pretty cool thing. I'm missing a few colors on there, but it's fairly complete. I just like to have that as a reference for whatever reason. I don't really ever use it as a reference. I just think it's cool. Red gems. Lots of red gems. The gems I use at Christmas for lights. Christmas lights. I use different colors of gems. So I ran out of them because I did that ultimate Christmas tree, which took up a lot of parts, and so doing a little restock there. This stuff is going to go off to the bike shop. Ooh, I got some ropes, chains, hot chocolate, and one snake. I thought maybe he could be cool, like popping out of the woods on like one of the paths. So I figured I'd try him out. I never had one of those snakes. These ropes are always handy. These I like to use for ornaments on the Christmas trees. I put them on a flower piece and just stick them on the end of the trees. Got some chains here. We got ropes. Those little ornament orbs, they go in my transparent bin. I do have one section for opal-y stuff. Opal-y? Is that a word? Opal colored things. There we go. Couple windows. I got a pile of windows over there, so I'll put those away later. Just slow. Alright, we'll save the specialty stuff. I don't want to dig that out right now. Alright, let's dig into Samuel's bricks here, because this is a big order. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here, and I'm excited for this one. I spent some money on this. Prices were great, though. Really well-priced store. It might be the first or second time I've ordered from him, but it was a very impressive store. I was glad to find it. I'm actually, right now, have an active cart at Samuel's. I'm working on another order because I didn't buy enough. There we go. And again, some common themes. Dark gray plate. You saw my dark gray plate bin. It was pretty weak. This is very nicely sorted. Very professional store. So what do we got here? We got lots of plate, different colors, some browns, some greens, some dark tan. More of those tree pieces. That's probably 100 or maybe even more. More of those. 1x5 with the round. 1x6 plate. I also use those in trees. These I use on the base of trees. They help connect things like, just saw them. These Technic pieces. You can use those to turn them into, so they can stick to studs. This is like my current holy grail of tree parts, is like these and these and of course these. This is basically going to get the majority of my oak trees converted from 1.0s to 2.0s. I've converted 4 of them, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. Some of them might stay because they're like built for specific spaces. They're a little smaller, but at least 4 of those are going to get converted. So I got a lot of tree work to do. I don't know if this is all going to fit in here. So we got a lot of stuff. But I might, in cases like this where I'm doing bulk stuff for specific builds, I often just leave them in the bags, because I'm going to pull this whole bag out and use it pretty much all up in one shot. You know, these 3 bags will do like 4 or 5 oak trees. So I'm just going to leave these like this and use them right out of the bags, because that way I don't have to dig them out of the container again. Let's see here. This is another great piece. They're expensive, so I only bought 6 of them. They're like 60 cents a piece, maybe 50 cents a piece. But these like hexagonal things you can attach on 6 different sides. I'm working on a tree design that uses these. You might see that in one of the future Tree Sculptor series videos. But they are kind of pricey, so I just buy them here and there. I don't go crazy on them because got to keep this somewhat affordable, right? What do we got here? I'm going to combine these two. Really no reason to have 2 bins for those scalloped pieces. And then here we have some 3 long bricks. Those are good for the cores of my oak trees. What else we got? Lots of plates. Lots and lots of plates. As you can tell from all these orders, I use a lot of more natural colors. You know, I'm not one to build sci-fi stuff. I'm going to leave those in the bag as well, and these. Like I said, I got a tree build coming up. Maybe I'll do a video where I just like, you know, a time lapse, bang out like 6 trees. That'd be a good video, maybe. You know, if he's got to fit in here, I'm gonna have to make a bin just for these trees. I am also converting some of my oak trees from bright green to regular green. It looks better, I think, to have a mix, but in all honesty, it's stupidly uncost effective. I mean, you're going to pay 3 or 4 times as much for a green tree as a bright green tree just because of pick-a-brick availability. You know, being able to get the 3 leaves in bright green, they're everywhere. You can get on pick-a-brick almost always. But the dark green or regular green ones, not so much. I'm actually just going to keep these aside. That's going to go, we'll put it in this box for now for future project. There we go. All right, let's do some dark gray plate. I got a lot of dark gray plate here. Let's talk a little bit about things outside of the channel. So New Year's is coming up, and so I'm trying to think of things I can improve for next year. And one thing I need to start using social media. Now, this is a touchy subject for me because personally, I don't like social media. I have accounts, or I have a Facebook, but I don't use it. I haven't used it in probably 7 or 8 years. It's there. You know, people can view really old stuff from me, but it's not anything I use. It's not anything I post on. Honestly, I don't really care to look at other people's Facebooks. It's just not my thing anymore. And, but the problem is, I really like the idea of social media as a way to kind of boost the channel and draw attention to it. Yeah, I notice a lot that communication can be tricky through YouTube because, number one, not everyone sees every video. That's very obvious by my numbers. And the problem is, if I do something like a winter challenge, every time I do that, I get, you know, at least 3 or 4 people who go, "Oh man, I didn't hear about this earlier. YouTube stopped recommending your videos." And that may be true, it may not. They may have just missed it. You know, not every video is going to pop up in your feed. Just depends how much YouTube you watch, I guess. But I feel like a better form of communication between me and the audience could be beneficial. Now, what that form of communication is, that's a mystery. Like I said, I don't use social media, and this is going to be a little embarrassing, but I cannot for the life of me really get a grasp on how Instagram works. My wife thinks it's hilarious because I've been asking her very basic questions about Instagram, trying to play around with it. There is a Brick Sculpt Instagram, by the way. You can go on and subscribe to it if you want. I have like 1 post on it because I don't know how it works. But I'm trying to learn, and I'm thinking this might be kind of a new project for a new year. You know, I do have a Patreon going. I'll be fully blatantly honest, I don't post on it enough. And so that's another goal of mine, is to bulk that up a little bit. I've never really been one to like ask people to pay me to do things. And that to me has always felt like Patreon kind of is like, oh, give me money. Yeah, and I get it. You're supporting a creator. I'm all good with that. But it's just not my personality to be that person. So I do have it. And I do have some people on there, not a lot. And I do post on it a little bit. I could do a lot better at it. So I'm thinking, you know, I do want to give people a reason to join it, but I also don't want to paywall everybody and be like, oh, if you want to see anything cool again from Brick Sculpt, give me money, because that is not my personality at all. So I'm trying to kind of find a good middle ground, like what goes on Patreon, what doesn't, how frequently to do it. And I'll be honest, you know, I open up a Patreon tab and put a video up, and then they ask me to write about it, and I'm like, I don't really want to. I will, but I'm not a blogger. You know, I don't like sitting there and writing things out. I want to post a picture and move on. And I think a platform like Instagram would probably be better for that and freer. You know, there's no reason that someone needs to pay to get an announcement from me that I'm doing something, you know, that can be more widespread to everybody. So I don't know, just some ideas I'm throwing around. If you have any thoughts on that, let me know below. Because I think it could be beneficial to the channel. You know, one of my biggest issues with all of it, you know, I do this on the side. It's just a for fun thing from me. You know, I do make a little bit on YouTube, but it's nothing crazy. And trust me, I'm not quitting my day job anytime soon over YouTube. But, you know, time is limited, and, you know, if something can be beneficial, that's great. But if it can be taxing, it can be kind of a negative, you know, where it's all of a sudden it's a bunch of extra work that I have even less time for, you know. And if I was doing YouTube full time, not that I really intend to do that, but I could write out a schedule and be like, okay, every Wednesday is Patreon day, and every Friday is Patreon day, and on this day I do this, and I post videos on these days, and I have to hit up Instagram every other day. And it would make more sense to do that, because I would be freeing up 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, where I could treat it like a job. But I don't know if that's really what I'm intended to do with this. I don't think it is. I really don't see myself going that route unless it kind of fell in my lap and it was like it didn't make sense to not do it. But I don't think that's where this is going, so I'm not really expecting that. And I'm also not really asking or pushing for that, to be honest. If I really wanted to try for that, I probably could make it happen with some sacrifices, but I don't know that that's the route I really want to go. I kind of like the level of workload that I have with it now, and the level of what I put into it and what I get out of it is pretty good balance right now for me, where I'm definitely working hard on it, but not killing myself over it, because it just is, it gets to be a lot. You know, there was a few months where I was posting every day, and I got in the rhythm of how to do it, but it did burn me out a little bit. I had to back off, and I took like a week off or something, and then I came back, and I was posting maybe twice a week, and now I'm doing every other day, which I really like. I think if I keep the content simple, every other day works fine. You know, every day is a lot, but I mean, I could do one a week, I could do 2 a week, but I just feel like I'm missing out on so much if I do that. You know, I feel like there's so much more to talk about and so much more fun to have with it if you post more frequently. And again, that means that the quality of videos is not going to be the greatest, because I want to be able to edit them quick and get them up in front of you guys quicker. So, getting through the dark grays here. And filming this, I'm keep watching my battery life, because I definitely used my phone more than I'm proud of today. And I came into this video with about 50% phone battery after work, and I'm really playing with fire here, but I think we'll be fine. Got lots of these inkwell, bottle top, nipple pieces, whatever you want to call them. There's a million names for this thing. But lots of different colors. It's a piece I don't have in a lot of colors, so I figured I'd branch out a little bit and buy some more unique colors with it just to have them. They were cheap. These don't cost a lot. What is that doing in there? I've put a little bit more thought into live streams as well. I know I talked about that in the last sort and chat I did last month. And I thought I actually was going to take a stride forward in that. A family member of mine offered me a computer that has been passed through the family a little bit. It was my grandmother's computer, and, well, she's not with us anymore, so it got passed down. And I didn't think it was that old, and she asked if I wanted it. It was just sitting around her house. And I said, well, give it a try. And so I wanted to get a computer down here so I can look things up in real time, and it would be a good way to do live streams. Well, I got the computer, I brought it in, I plugged it in, turned it on. The thing took like 30 minutes to boot. And then after it booted, I opened the internet tab, and it took like 10 minutes to load. And then I quickly unplugged it, put it back in the box, and got rid of it because that is going to do nothing for me. So it was a good thought, but the computer was just too old. So I have a very nice computer upstairs I edit on. You have to, because it's to run things like studio and video editing, and I have a gazillion videos saved on it and things. I have to have a pretty decent machine for that. When I first started doing this, my computer I thought was pretty good, but the spec was just not cutting it for the video editing, and it crashed a couple times, and so I had to upgrade. But I got a newer one that works really well. The problem is it's 2 flights of stairs above me. I'm in the basement. It's in my second story, and not a lot of use that it can do all the way down here. So I need another computer, and basically at some point I'm just going to break down and buy one. You know, you can get computers pretty cheap nowadays. It doesn't need to do much. I don't think the live stream is super demanding. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know much about it, but I think I can get away with a fairly modest computer. And then it's just doing things like searching instructions and like Brick Owl and that kind of stuff. I think it'll be pretty cool to have that. I can also run music off of it, so I can play music in here. I do currently, but I just do it off my phone, which takes up battery life. And when you're filming on your phone, losing battery life is not fun, nor conducive to filming on your phone. That's how you get in situations like I'm in now, where I keep checking the battery life on this. So yeah, computer would be handy. I think that's a hopefully fairly recent purchase I'm going to make. I'll probably wait until I get the room a little more done, get the shelves in and stuff, because there's still going to be some expense to that. That stuff surely isn't free. All the wood and things I'm going to need for that. But once that part's put together, I think I'll start looking to invest, I don't know, maybe $500-600 into a computer. Maybe more if I have to, but again, this is a secondary computer. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. But that, you know, things like that are why the YouTube channel is so helpful, because they really don't have much guilt in spending a little bit of money here and there. You know, if I was just doing this purely for my enjoyment and it didn't bring in any money at all, you know, doing so many Brick Owl orders that I can't even keep up and have to do them all in one large video would be kind of unsmart, because this stuff costs money, as I'm sure you guys know. Lego is not cheap, never has been, and it's definitely not getting any cheaper. So being able to have a little bit of revenue coming from it is great, because when I do hop on Brick Owl and spend $50, $60, $70, $80, $100, whatever it is, it kind of takes the guilt out of it, because I know that I'm going to eventually make that money back in some form at some time. And trust me, I am not getting rich on this channel. it's a little bit of money a month, just enough to scratch the itch and keep the Lego flowing, and that's about what it does. The rest of my life is paid for by my actual job. It's funny, I met up a couple of disc golfers who, I do disc golf. I do a lot less nowadays than I used to. I met up a couple of disc golfers, one of which is a pretty big fan of the show, channel. And he brought his roommate, and we were talking, and I didn't really know these people that well, and I asked what he does, and he told me what he does for a living, and he knew I was on the YouTube, and he goes, so is that, YouTube's what you do, and I assume that's your job? And I'm like, well, no. It's definitely what I do. It definitely takes a lot of time, and it's a labor of love. It's a lot of fun, but it would not be easy to live off the money I make on YouTube, that's for sure. Maybe someday. Who knows? There's always hoping. Well, we're getting down to the end here. Getting real close. This is a color I've been really bulking up on. I don't use it much, but bright green, I really like the color. It's very good looking. It's a little more limited than regular green or dark green. I use a lot more dark green than bright green, and I definitely use more regular green than any of them. But it is nice looking. Red. A lot of my primary colors, my reds, blues, and yellows, are older stuff. I don't really buy much of that anymore. I have so much of it from my old collection, my childhood stuff, and it's something I don't use very often because most of my stuff is more realistic looking and bright red, other than maybe an accent color here or there. You're not going to see too much in a realistic Lego city. At least in my realistic Lego city. But it is nice to update the pieces every now and then, like these inkwell pieces. This is something that is a fairly new piece, at least in my time of Lego. So having them is nice, even if you don't use the stuff very often. I have used those in red for ketchup bottles, though. It's a good use for it. This is a great color. Again, barely ever use it, but what a good looking color. This stuff's all out of order. Let me fix this real quick. I know you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm just talking to myself. Everyone's going to say I'm crazy. That's okay, though. It takes a little bit of crazy to do Lego YouTube videos. Oh, I know what thing we could talk about. I have mentioned in a couple of videos now about a show that I've kind of committed to. It's kind of interesting. The bike shop I manage is in Geneva, Illinois, and one of the owners of the bike shop works with the Chamber of Commerce, and they're doing a excuse me, they're doing a art weekend. Where all the small businesses in the town, or maybe not all, but a lot of the small businesses in the town are having artists come in and just do small displays in their business. And it's a way to get people in the door, show off some cool stuff. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea. And she had asked me if I want to be the artist, I'm going to use that term very loosely, for the bike shop. So I'm actually going to be doing a show at the bike shop. it is still pretty early, so I don't want to say anything too firmly. It sounds like May 1st, I believe. And my intention, I really hope I can pull this off. My intention, and trust me, I'm like losing sleep over this, even though it's a long time away. But my intention is to get my entire Lego city finished enough. As you guys probably know, Lego builds are never truly finished, at least if you're me, they aren't. They just evolve over time. But I want to get everything, at least like every space has a completed building in it. I'll still make improvements on it, but I want it looking good. And I want to bring the entire Lego city. So I think that'd be pretty cool. And then, of course, I'll bring some other stuff like the obelisk and the pencil and more classic show-off pieces. But I think getting that whole city there would be really cool. And I have a great place to display it and make it look nice. And so that's kind of what I want to do. And I will definitely give more details as we get closer to that time. I'll probably do a video on it. Or again, this is the kind of thing that having social media would be helpful for. Because if I want to make an announcement, like I'm doing a show, that's a great place to post stuff like that. Anyway, I think it could be pretty cool, and I'll definitely put something out there. So if people are local, I know I speak to a audience that spans across the entire world. So not everyone is fortunate enough to be local, or maybe unfortunate enough. Who knows these days? So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think everyone or maybe nobody is going to make it. But if you are local and you want to see my stuff and meet me, that would be a good opportunity to do it. I may also look at doing Brick World this year. Brick World Chicago. I attended it last year, and this is also kind of embarrassing. It's the first time I've ever been. I've always done this as kind of just a me hobby. I never really included anyone else, and it is kind of a lonely hobby that way. And I went to Brick World, and I thought it was awesome. Now, the tricky thing is I manage a bike shop, and Brick World takes place in the middle of summer. And the middle of summer is also when I am the absolute busiest at work. So we'll see how that goes, because asking for a bunch of time off in the middle of summer is kind of tricky. But I think it could be cool. You know, it was a lot of fun last year. I talked to a few people who knew the channel and wanted to talk about it. Met some kind of bigger name YouTube people there, which is kind of cool. And I think it'd be fun to be a part of, if they'd have me, that is. So yeah, that's a possibility too. I don't want to. That's definitely less on the radar right now than the other show, because the other show is a much smaller commitment. But it's possible. So something to keep an eye out for too. We'll see. I'll have more announcements about this stuff. That's one of the reasons I love these sort and chat videos, because it gives me a good chance just to catch up and tell you guys what's on my mind, to get some feedback. And I hope you guys like them too. You know, I hope it doesn't just put you to sleep. And if it does, that's cool too. You can watch this and put it to sleep. As long as it gets views and likes and subscribes, that's all I care. Just kidding. Anyway, I think that's about all I got for tonight. I got these few little pieces to put away. I don't want to dig that bin out right now, so they're going to stay right there. So, I hope you guys like this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to do more just like this in the future. That's all I have for this time, and we will see you next time.